Now, the lad before me, it was Sam, I think, one of the younger lads at the gym, and he'd done a great routine. That was always better in gymnastics. You know, if someone did a great routine, it meant the judges weren't going to take a long time, because the longer you've got to wait for a score and before you do your routine, the more time you've got to think about things in your head and kind of get in your own way a little bit. So he did a great routine, so I pretty much shook his hand. I think I gave him a fist bump, chalked my hands up, and then I always used to walk all the way around past the judges to the end to start my high bar routine, because I would present at the end of the mat and I'd walk up to the bar and start. And it was great because by the time I'd got all the way around to where I would start, the judges were ready. They put the green light on. I didn't have any time to think. I stood there. I presented to the judge. I gave him a little smile, I think. It was a judge that's judged me for years. Sergey stepped onto the mat. We walked up to the bar. He lifted me up, and the last thing I say to myself on high bar before I go, particularly for the last few years, was always this phrase. It was, don't think, just do. And what I was saying to myself when I said that was, I'm an overthinker, and I can overthink things. But it was me trusting and believing in my ability to do that routine, and I would say that, and it really helped me. And I would just focus one skill at a time and really feel the routine. And, you know, obviously my shoulders strapped up. I didn't know it at the time, but I got a tear in my rotator. I tore my rotator cuff, so I was in a lot of pain. But in that moment, that routine, I'd done it so many times that year, and my training had gone so well. But more than anything, I was in such a positive mindset. It's honestly the most, when you sit and you listen to people talk on TV, athletes or ex-athletes or commentators or pundits, and they say, you know, they get in the zone, they're in the zone. It's the most in the zone I've ever been. It was like an out-of-body experience. I can't even remember really feeling the bar. That routine just flowed. And it wasn't a perfect routine in any stretch of the imagination, you know? But it wasn't about that. I had learnt to love the imperfection in gymnastics. And it had relit this fire in me. That you don't have to be perfect, and even the best gymnasts in the world make mistakes. And actually, in a situation where things are going wrong, can I still do a good routine? And in that situation, everything was going wrong, and I still did an amazing routine. And I did a routine that had 5 release and catches in it. That meant I had to let go of the bar 5 times and catch it. I got all the way to the end. I vividly remember hearing my brother, because I don't hear a lot when I do a high bar routine. I really kind of like shut things out. And the way I swing the bar, I trap my ears with my shoulders so I can't hear much, and I get in that tunnel vision mode. But I remember when I did a top change, I heard my brother scream, "Come on, mate, you can do it." And I heard that, gave me a buzz, and my arms and my body was just spent from 21 years of gymnastics. And I just closed my eyes and I tried to pull this dismount in, and I was just hoping that I landed on my feet. And I didn't even land. My legs just smacked the floor, and I took a step and stayed on my feet. And like in that moment, I celebrated. I looked at my family. They were all, my dad, literally, my brother told me afterwards, he just had like water streaming down his face. But it was like happy tears, you know, for once. And I think they were just all so happy for me that it could finish that way, because it had been so difficult. I'd been on such a challenging journey. To have had this positive experience at the end, and all my best friends were there, and my family. And I ran up to Sergey and gave him a massive hug, and like the other lads from the gym came up and we hugged, and it was just brilliant. It was like a film. It was honestly like a film. Like, you couldn't have written it. To be the last person in the whole competition, my last routine and my whole career. And the incredible thing about it was that I won a gold medal, and I became the British champion, and I walked away as the best high bar worker in the whole of Great Britain at the age of 28. And yeah, I mean, you can see I'm smiling about it now because I'm so proud of myself for everything I went through. But more than anything, I'm so proud I was able to, at the end of my career, fall in love with the sport again. And yeah, it was just, it was for me. That was for me, you know. That was for me, that. And it was, it's something I'll never, ever forget. I'm so grateful to all of the people that made that possible and supported me through that very difficult period in my life leading up to that final competition.